IGEPHA im Gespräch. Der Podcast der Austrian Self Care Association.
Hello and welcome to the final episode of this season's IGEPHA im Gespräch, the podcast of the Austrian Self Care Association. I'm Christina Nageler, the Managing Director of IGEPHA. Over the course of this season, we've had the pleasure of speaking with 8 fascinating guests about the ever-evolving world of AI. AI has rapidly evolved, significantly impacting self-care and beyond. On one hand, AI tools like ChatGPT provide easily accessible and understandable health information to consumers, and on the other hand, AI solutions offer companies new opportunities for efficiency and innovation in various areas. Today, we are particularly interested in how large organizations in the healthcare sector utilize these innovative technology. It's my pleasure to welcome Harald Katzmair, a renowned expert in network analysis and resilience, to our IGEPHA podcast studio. Harald is the founder and director of FAS Research, a company dedicated to strategic consulting through the lens of network science and resilience theory. Hello, Harald. Great to have you on our podcast today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Harald, can you tell us more about your background and the mission of FAS Research?
My background is network science. So more or less, I started out our FAS Research almost 30 years ago. It was a spin-off from the University of Vienna, and we were among the first who applied network science in their consulting context, so to address and solve real-world problems. So that's my background, so network science, but over the years, of course, there were many other aspects that became relevant in our work. And one thing that we are currently working on, and this is also linked with our topic of AI, is that we are working on a platform. So it's a tech solution to help groups or teams or stakeholders to coordinate and to have a shared situational understanding. So it's a situational analysis platform for shared decision-making, for shared situational analysis and awareness. So we might come to other aspects.
Definitely. You just said it, AI and network analysis are very, at least to me, very complex fields. And how do you at FAS Research utilize AI to address organizational challenges? What would you say?
Well, I mean, we have to clarify. I mean, AI in terms of like machine learning is around for many years, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? But now we are talking about generative AI, which kind of like appeared in public and like 2 years ago, and it all took us by surprise. By the way, I think nobody really anticipated how far this kind of like generative AI tech already was like in the making, and how great it is. And so what we use now, generative AI, is specific. So there's, of course, like things like translation of our language to text. So when a group comes together and they have like a dialogue on, let's say, for example, okay, they talk about like what are the key success factors to implement AI in their organization. Let's assume that. So, and you have 10 people come together and they brainstorm. You record what they have talked about, and then you automatically turn this conversation into a list of what were like the 10 most important success factors they talked about. So it's really very supportive in terms of like turning conversations into structured text, but also like success factors. So this is what we use, like, because of our platform is designed to look at them later. How are those success factors linked with each other? So how do they catalyze each other to understand what are the enabling success factors and what are the real tipping points? So what are the most crucial success factors for an organization to achieve, to reach their goals? So, and then we use AI. And the other field of application is just, and it's stunning how great this works, is really to turn unstructured data into structured data. So, and with generative AI, it's really like almost like you leapfrog 10 years of data science development with that. So those are the two areas where we, and then of course, like everybody now uses AI, generative AI for proofreading, et cetera, et cetera. So, but for us, it's really like this speech to text and how to turn text into success factors and to unstructured data into structured data.
Mm-hmm. It surprised me that even a research center like yours was surprised by the fast way of generative AI to be implemented in society, I must say.
Yeah, it was just like, of course, we were like among the first to kind of like work with even like GPT-3 models. They were like the first one that really worked in generating text, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the whole field, like, because the key papers and key technologies, they were like published not before 2017. This is really like this whole like text to vector tech. This is like a field that really took many by surprise. How fast those kind of like key papers turn into technology that just works. Well, at least, I mean, it works. Not we can talk about it later. I mean, it works not always, but we know what I mean. It's of course like super practical.
You are the eighth in this podcast season, so we heard a lot about the hallucinations and stuff like this. So but it's great. And what would you say, what are some practical applications of generative AI for the self-care industry, for example, in managing and improving, for example, their human resource strategy?
I think, I mean, it's obvious that everything that's related with documentation is just like how to really relieve the burden, the bureaucratic burden. I think that's the most obvious field. And of course, then you have all like these diagnostics and et cetera. But this is something where AI is around for a long time. But I really see like in the terms of like automating the documentation, but also like how you communicate with clients and patients. I think that's like when you're like in a multilingual world, many languages. And then there's like also, of course, this whole like how to translate complicated medical or other information into language that people understand. If this kind of like generative AI is really great about, it's to phrase things easy that people understand. So to simplify text, it's really that's I think that's a really most important strength is how to simplify content. So I think that those are obvious applications. And then there's, of course, like a lot of other things that are people were working currently on, because generative AI is what we call like a convergent technology, which means you will have it everywhere. You will have it in robotics. You will have it like in every. So there will be no device where generative AI will not be part of it. And when we had like this week the presentation of the new Apple software release that they announced, and it's all about like bringing AI in every aspect in every part of the product. So, and you will have it everywhere. We'll have it in cars. We'll have it like in everywhere. So, and we don't. So it's still like too early to see, where this will kind of create value, and we have to figure out together where this makes sense and where not. And I think this is at least as important to have this conversation and to also to develop the competence or in organizations and in teams to really say, well, this is what we want, and we use it as effective as possible. But there might be areas where we consciously decide, no AI, we don't want that. Because we shouldn't underestimate that with AI now, we have a huge shift in how we are related with each other. I mean, it started with Google Maps, when we looked for a place, how to get there. And we stopped to ask foreigners on the road, how do we get to, can you help me, please? No, we turned to our phone and we asked our Google Maps. So the shift from the human-to-human communication to human-machine communication. And the same, of course, now is happening with AI, and this will be an even will have a stronger impact. The shift from who we assign authority. So because of course the AI will know more in many aspects than humans. So, but this is like but what does it with our relationships? Think about like like parenting. There will be parenting AIs. Like parenting is complex. It's not easy. Oh, yeah, we have here our parenting AI, and there will be like parenting responsibilities. AI will take over, or teaching in schools. So it's not the teacher anymore who's in the focus, but a teaching AI. So, but what does it mean for the status of the teacher? So why I'm bringing this up is we really have to be very conscious about how strong we really want to shift our relationships, so that we not only become like completely coupled with those AI personas and become less and less able to engage with other humans.
That's true. This kind of brings me to my next question. You often speak about resilience.
Yes.
How does AI contribute to building resilience in organizational structures? What would you say?
This is good question. Good question. I mean, resilience is three dimensions that are. So resilience means like you've basic robustness. So you're robust. So you can withhold kind of like impacts. But then there's agility. So you're adaptive and flexible. But there's also like your capacity for persistency. So you can hold on to something. You can follow through. And of course, like resilience, the notion of resilience makes sense specifically when there's surprise, right? When surprise arises, there's of course negative surprise, like something unpleasant is happening, and how are we capable as an organization to respond? For that we need robustness, resilience, and persistency, right? But also there's positive surprises. So something is happening, and there an opportunity is opening up, and are we capable to realize this opportunity or follow on that? So, and AI, I'm not so sure, because the thing is, and it's like core of our resiliency and of our responsiveness is, of course, like a kind of agility and capacity to improvise. And improvisation needs very, very strong human-to-human relationships. So also, like, we need strong and secure relationships for unsecure situations, for unsecure conversations. So having those secure ties for unsecure conversations as a basic for resiliency. And I'm not so sure. Of course, the AI can provide input, can help you probably to analyze and the situation if you have enough data and so on. But the thing about resiliency is we are only strong as an organization as far as we are capable to understand what's going on, so that we are capable to map the situation and have an overlapping maps of reality. Okay? So that we can together literally digest and metabolize reality. That's kind of like we have to understand together. And this process of metabolizing and understanding together is a very relational thing. You can't outsource it to the machine, to the AI. You can't just say like, okay, AI, it's a complex, complicated situation, but we don't want to deal with that. It's up to you. No, that's not building strengths, and also not. This is not building resiliency and anti-fragility in terms of like, because we are exposed to challenge, we actually become stronger, and you only become stronger if we together kind of like are able to almost like incorporate this experience as a team, as an organization. So again, like them.
So you see it more as a danger because by using too much AI, we don't learn how to talk to each other.
If we use AI to avoid our exposure to reality, if we use AI to avoid unpleasant, complicated situations, this kind of like avoidance will diminish our capacity in dealing with challenges. So if we use AI to become even more isolated from reality, but if you use AI to understand better and dig deeper and get kind of like also be inspiration and input. So it depends on, but this is a danger. Specifically when I talk about like, because there will be like in the self-care industry and everywhere, a huge pressure to substitute AI and robots and human synthetic agents with real people. It's cheaper. We see this already in like synthetic influencers in social media. Yeah. They are like, you see this in model agencies where you have a huge substitution of real personas with real people with synthetic personas. So there will be a huge pressure to have a digital twin. We all will have our digital twins. There will be the Harald Katzmair and the Christina Nageler, who will kind of like attend meetings, and there will be like, they will look like ourselves and us, and we already trained through Teams and Zoom meetings, and those pixel are pictures of our faces that already look like a robot face because you don't see the fine-grained details like of the cracks in our faces and the folds, et cetera, et cetera. So, no, what I want to say is like there will be a huge pressure, but we have to be very, very conscious. If you save resources in substituting humans, this will all work till the moment where things go wrong. The capacity to improvise to trust the other, if a strong enough relationship with the other will require that we are still train ourselves and expose ourselves to the difficulties of human communication, because we humans are complex, we're difficult beings, we're not always nice. We have all our issues, right? But that's exactly what creates like a strong and secure relationship, that we together are capable to contain the complexity of who we are. But because we're complex, we have this unbelievable capacity to improvise and to respond creatively. That's like the source of all creative processes, is this kind of like ambiguity that we are. So again, like I see potential danger here, because we should strive for being more capable to contain reality and not become less and less capable to engage with reality. So, and because we have it handed over to a machine. And honestly, I mean, I know it from myself, or since I'm using GPS in my car, I'm less capable to orient and to, I mean, we used to have drive everywhere around the world with just like a map, and we had a phone, and when we got lost, we asked somebody, right? This was like
nobody can imagine this nowadays.
Yeah,
we found our way.
And now if I have to turn on my GPS in my car, if I drive somewhere where I drive regularly, I become nervous, because there could be like a traffic jam or whatever the excuse is. But and there might be like a tendency that the same is happening with our capacity to write text or whatever we generate together, or to analyze data, because we've lost the capacity, because it's outsourced it to AI. And
so, but then what recommendation would you give to, for example, my members regarding the adoption and integration of AI tools, not to become, on the one hand, too dependent on these, and also in regards of their personnel, to keep this personnel human, I must say.
The one thing is the curiosity, because the genie is out of the box. So it would be ridiculous to demonize those AI tools. They are tools, and they are great, as we talked about at the very beginning, and they're really like, I don't know, specifically this proofreading thing. I mean, this is so great to have somebody who just checks grammar, spell checking, etc. So this is like, my advice is really like, experiment with it, work with it, learn, and then have a group and discuss very openly where we think it's great and where we say, no, we want to, here's this, we think this would diminish our capacity. So again, like there's kind of like no formula to share. Engage, experiment. If things work, great, standardize it. I would strongly recommend, specifically when it comes to prompts, to have a shared prompt book to understand what kind of prompts create what kind of results, so that everybody starts with their own prompt approaches. So I think it makes a lot of sense in the team and the organization to learn about what is a great prompt, what is a not so great prompt, and share experiences. I don't know if there will be like a profession called like prompt engineering. I'm not so sure about, because every organization has to develop the skills and will have their own approach, but still share it, learn together, have a shared prompt book, and always ask the question, does it make ourselves just more efficient, but does it help us also become more responsive and capable to deal with surprise? The negative surprise I've talked about before, but also the positive surprise, new opportunities. So, and I think there's no, we have to figure out, and it's too early, it's too soon. I mean, this stuff is around for 1.5, 2 years. So it's completely new. It's sometimes mind blowing in terms of what it does, and also like sometimes really super disappointing how stereotyped and how mechanical sometimes and uninspired the outcomes are. But again, it's we have to figure out.
So, last question. What's your favorite generative AI, or what kind of things do you use most, or what would you recommend us using?
No, I'm as everyone. We work primarily with ChatGPT and Gemini, the Google thing, and then of course we have some like Midjourney stuff. But now it's again like my assumption is that sooner or later, because the power or the performance of the AI is really determined by how many data they use to train it. And our ChatGPT was just like, in terms of data, privacy, etc., the least politically correct. And that's why they have a better performance. So I assume that sooner or later all those platforms will have more or less the same performance. And then there will be like very specialized AIs using like really training data that are not public and that are very specific, et cetera, but it's like when you think about the phones, you have the Google phones and then the Apple phones, and they can more or less do the same. I mean, the same stuff. And I think the same there will be like a convergence also like in performance. Yeah, that's what we use here.
Okay. Well, thanks, Harald. It was a pleasure having you here in our podcast. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thanks.
This brings us to the end of our current season of IGEPHA im Gespräch. It's been a fantastic journey with 8 incredible guests who have shared their knowledge and insights with us. We're taking a short break for the summer, but we will be back in the fall with a new season packed with more engaging topics and experts. We at IGEPHA are committed to supporting the self-care industry in the efficient and targeted integration of AI tools into daily workflows. Recently, we made available a comprehensive AI guide to our members, offering valuable tips and insights. Thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to our next season of IGEPHA im Gespräch. Have a wonderful summer and see you in the fall.